I'm Nicole Holcomb, attorney by day and podcaster by night, a former educator, school counselor, and administrator, and mom to a 9-year-old daughter with dyslexia, who loves all things Harry Potter, Minecraft, and science. A few years ago, she was identified with dyslexia, and our life seemed to turn upside down for a while, quite literally. I created the Dyslexia Mom Life podcast to help you navigate the upside down journey of dyslexia. You got this. If you're wanting to thrive as a mom in this dyslexia journey, then you're in the right place. Let's get started. You are listening to the Dyslexia Mom Life podcast, episode 30. I'm your host, Nicole Holcomb, and today on the show, I'm going to be talking about mom guilt and how to beat it. So I'll tell you a story. So last night, I decided I would take a few minutes out of my day, have a hot bath, and just relax with a good book. That was my idea of a relaxing evening and kind of just recharging myself. It was Thursday night, and I had been working a schedule of where I worked 4 10-hour days at my law job. That way I had Fridays off to work on the podcast. I'd been working on the podcast, at lunch and at evenings. Not to mention that during the week I'd been, running our household, figuring out our budget for December, ordering Christmas gifts to be delivered, helping my daughter with homework, and making sure that our elf peppermint had the best location. Every day, right, is an essential. It'd been a busy week, but that's pretty typical, right? Pretty typical for us moms. So after dinner, I'd put a load of clothes in the laundry. I walked through the living room, and my daughter and my husband were working together on the homework. And I thought, wow, this is a perfect time for me to slip away for just a few minutes to myself, or so I thought. I no more turned off the water and got pushed back in my bubbles, ready to read. And the next thing I know, my daughter's in the bathroom talking about the homework. Then the next thing I know, my husband's peeking in the bathroom to see where she's wandered off to. Then I hear them in our bedroom talking, and my daughter says, I just want to wait. I've been doing homework with mom, and I just want to do my homework with my mom. And guys, it hit me. It hit me like a ton of bricks, the guilt. I was like, why didn't I just wait? Why didn't I just wait until after the homework? Why didn't I just wait until she was ready for bed? And then I could have taken a few minutes to myself to relax and hopefully recharge. Does this sound familiar? You start to have just a few minutes, and then everyone in your house finds you, right? Or you think there is so much left to do, right? There's homework, there's bedtime, packing lunches. There just seems so much things to do during the day, right? Or maybe it's that, you get that call in the morning from your daughter. She says she misses you because you're not at home and you weren't able to get her up before work. And you really had traded off your morning because you thought, I'll go into work early so that I can get off early in the afternoon and have more time in the afternoon and evening with the family. But in that moment on the phone when she's saying, I miss you, why aren't you at home? In that moment, you feel that pull at your gut, that pull of guilt. Am I right? So why do we feel guilt? Well, it's pretty simple, really. One is that society has set us up to feel guilty. Everything you see in the media, everything around us, it really is us moms being super moms, right? Many of us work outside the home. Some of us have additional businesses that we're running. We're trying to get, everyone where they need to go. We're doing car line. We're doing soccer practice. We are, maybe the person in our family that's handling financials for our family. When you look at things, society really does expect us to do everything. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of tough love here, and I have to tell it to myself as well, which is we sometimes feel that guilt because it's our own expectation. Yep, I said it. It's the expectation that we have of what a mom should look like. And some of that definitely is impacted by our society. Some of that is impacted by how you were raised. Did your mom work outside of the home? Was your mom in the home? What type of things did mom do? Did she share responsibilities with her partner? Did they work together, or did mom do everything in your household? And then how do you see yourself? What do you see yourself doing as far as how you raise your kids and what you want them to see you doing and what kind of role model you want to be? So some of it is definitely society, and a lot of it is our own expectations on ourselves. Our own expectations to do it all, to do it right, and to really just be that perfect parent. Well, are you tired of feeling that guilt? I know I have been for a long time, and I've been working on it. So let's change it for you. These are the steps that you could take. One is, the first thing you have to do is you have to catch it, okay? So what I mean by that, the next time you feel that guilt for letting someone else in the household help with homework while you take a few minutes to yourself after a very long day, it's okay. But you might feel that little twinge of guilt. Or the phone call from your child saying, "Why didn't you pick me up from school today? I thought you were going to be there," right? Or maybe it's that you've got to go take care of an ill relative and you're not able to be there after school because you've got something else going on, right? And our children don't understand that. It is very hard to have a conversation with a 9-year-old to explain to her what it is you need to do, right? So the first piece of changing the script on feeling guilty, feeling that mom guilt, is first you're going to have to catch it. You're going to have to catch it when it starts happening. You're going to have to acknowledge it. You're going to have to say, okay, I hear you. And then you're going to have to change your thoughts, okay? So yeah, this is a bit of work because you could just sit in it, right? And we've all been there. You could just sit in it and feel guilty because you can't do it all. And you know what? You can't, right? And we don't ask for help. So that first piece is catching yourself, feeling the guilt, acknowledging I feel guilty, and then changing your thoughts to yourself. So this is going to take a little self-talk, which is, I know I feel guilty right now. That's okay. But I really have got to be here to, take my mother to the doctor. And so right now I just can't be there. And that's going to be okay, right? You got to tell yourself, it's okay. I'm doing the best that I can do. Instead of just being absorbed with that guilt and then it ruining the rest of your day, right? Maybe even the rest of your week. The other thing I'm going to caution you about, if you find yourself dealing with mom guilt more often than not, or it getting to a point where you just feel horrible the rest of the day, then another thing you can try is stop the comparison. Okay? So don't compare yourself to the Instagram stories or your Facebook friends. Believe me, they feel the mom guilt too. And I'm going to tell you another secret. No one is perfect. No person and no mom. And so when you have one of those days when you weren't able to make it to soccer practice because maybe the meeting ran over or you got stuck in traffic so your mom went to pick your child up, whatever it is, I mean, you don't do it on purpose. You don't purposely want to let your child down, but sometimes you just can't be everywhere. It happens to everybody. But you're not going to see that in your Instagram feeds. You're not going to see that. Sometimes you will see on Facebook people being realistic. But most of the time, me included and you included, we put on Instagram and Facebook the things that we want people to see, the good things that we're doing, the fun we're having with our family. We don't necessarily want to open up and be vulnerable and share information about ourselves in that way. I mean, some people do, but for the most part, we just don't. We're not going to be 100% ourselves. That's just not how social media is set up. So if you're having one of those days, then you might just need to unplug from that. First of all, if you find yourself comparing yourself to others, you might need to take a little break. Take a break from social for a couple of days. See how you feel. If you're having a day where you already feel the guilt, you probably don't want to get on Instagram that night and see all these perfect families. Okay? Again, not reality. The other thing you can do is just let it go. I mean, that's what they did in Frozen. She just let it go. But, because ultimately, you are the only person in control of your thoughts. And I'll be honest, I'm still working on this one. I am very much a type A perfectionist type of person. And I have an only child. And so I do take things to heart, and I do have that mom guilt, and our kids know it. They know how to push that mom guilt button. Don't be naive about that. But I have to let it go too. Sometimes you just have to let it go and just know you're doing the best you can. And then don't set yourself up, right? Don't set yourself up with these unrealistic expectations. It's just not healthy for you. It's not healthy for your family. And you're just going to get very discouraged with the mom guilt. So you're not perfect. If you thought you were, okay, I'm giving you a little bit of tough love, because none of us are perfect. Okay, you're going to make mistakes. It's okay to be who you are. It's okay to be imperfect as a mom, as a wife. It's okay for your children to see you're doing the best you can. Okay, they need that life lesson too. So when they become parents, they know they can't do it all by themselves. And you also, the last piece I would tell you here on some of these tips for mom guilt is, and this happens to most of us, is when we become a mom, many times we disappear. Did you hear me? Sometimes we just disappear. And what I mean by that is your identity sometimes gets so wrapped up in your child, especially for us that are parenting children with differences, right? You're parenting a child or children with dyslexia. And so you may feel the need to be perfect or to always be available, always be present. It's just not realistic, okay? And so it may be that, and again, raising my hand, once you become a mom, some people are great about this. They keep their own identity. They continue to have their lunch date with their friends. They continue to do the civic things that they do, and they're able to keep their own identity. So my point is reminding you didn't disappear when you became a mom. But right now it may feel like it. So you have to start flipping the script on that and start, making time for yourself and the things that are important for you as a person, and not let that mom guilt you into not being the person that you are. So what are you going to do today? You're going to start today. The next time you feel mom guilt sneaking in on your day, this is what you're going to do, okay? You're going to take a couple deep breaths. It's amazing what can happen with a couple of deep breaths. So breathing in and breathing out. Do that for several minutes. Just give your brain some oxygen, and it will give you a little clarity. I mean, seriously, it works, I promise. And then you have to think about, is this really something that I should be concerned about? Is it going to matter later today? Is it going to matter tomorrow? Is it going to matter next week or next year? And if it is, then definitely change whatever's going on in the moment. If not, which is 99.9% of the time, if it's something that is just happened and your child's upset about it, but you've got to be where you are, take another deep breath and say to your child, I love you, but right now this is where I need to be. And then you have to let it go. Don't live there all day. And again, raising my hand, because there's been many times before the pandemic. Right now I'm working 100% from home in my law job, but there have been times when I went to work and was there at 6:30 a.m. so that I could get off in the afternoon and get home and be home to do homework and have family time and not get stuck in the Atlanta traffic trying to get home in the afternoon. So I'd go to work really early. I'd be there at my desk at 6:30. And my daughter would call me every morning, and I would say good morning and check in on her. And many times I would get off the phone feeling horrible. I will be honest. I thought, why in the world am I doing this? But I had to have a job, right? I've got to pay our bills. There's just things I've got to do. And so I had to go to work. But she's 9, like I said earlier. So she doesn't understand, well, I'm doing this because later on this afternoon, I'll be home before 6 because I'm going to leave at 3 or 3:30, right? So, but there was many mornings that then I started my day with that mom guilt. Some days I just, in the pit of my stomach, I just felt horrible. And there was no reason to, because the minute she got off the phone with me, she was fine. She was just letting me know she loved me and she missed me. That's really all she meant to tell me, right? So in that moment, you're going to take a deep breath. again, and you're going to say, I love you, but right now this is where I need to be. And then you're going to let it go. Okay. And if you need to, for some people, what's helpful too is if you're a person that likes to journal, then maybe you just take a couple, 5-10 minutes and journal out your thoughts and then just leave it there and be done with it. If you're a person that you have a very strong faith, then take a few minutes and say a prayer and then let it go. And another piece you may want to strongly consider is you may want to take a break from social media that night and be present with your family when you get home. It's not a balance. It's just being present in that moment. And in that moment, you're present wherever you are. But when you get home, then you're present with your family. So it may be that if you think it's going to make you feel worse to see all those, Facebook posts and Instagram posts and Twitter posts about other people, this may just be a night that you're not able to push that off to the side. Okay. And that's okay. So that's the last piece that you're going to do. So have a great week. And I want you to remember, you got this. You are an amazing mom, and you have to let go of the mom guilt. And when you do, it is going to feel amazing. So thanks for listening today. And I just want to say the best thank you that you could give me right now is to share this episode with a friend. You can actually, in most podcast apps, there's like a little icon button that looks like some of them is like a little arrow, but you'll see it on there. It's like a share button. You can share a particular episode. You can email it to a friend. You can share it on social. Or, if you want to, you can just leave a review, especially if you listen through Apple Podcasts. And then that way, other moms who find this podcast will know that it's valuable and it's valuable to you. So that's the biggest thank you that you could give me today. Again, you got this, and I'll talk to you real soon.